I'm Iseman with Passport to Pleasure, and this is Open Dialogue, my monthly Instagram Live, also a podcast with the same name. I'm going to invite today's guest, so just bear with me. Very fun conversation today about spicy travel and sexy home swaps. So our guest is just logging in. Here we go.
Hi.
Oh, hello. Hello. Thank you so much.
So glad it's working.
I know we tried
Hooray.
to do the practice room, and for some reason that just wasn't happening. So we're coming like ultra live. This is
Yeah.
like ultra uncensored, raw
Yeah.
conversation about spicy home swaps. So before we dive in, for context, as people are joining us, there's a time change that happened in the US and not the UK. So we might not have everyone that's normally here, but we're going to have all the people that are here today with us. And if you're watching later, feel free to drop those questions in the comments. We review all of them. This is an invitation to, chat with us. So please do feel encouraged to drop your questions in the comments live as well. Today, we're talking on Open Dialogue. I'm Iseman with Passport to Pleasure. We're going to be talking about spicy travel and sexy home swaps. And what does that even mean? Spicy travel can include, swingers resorts, cruises, things like that, traveling to high-end European sex parties, all the way through to just, swapping homes with other people in the sex positive lifestyle, which is what we're going to be talking about with today's guest. So without further ado, do you mind introducing yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Marie DeCosse. I am the founder of NOMAD Travel Groups. I have been working with Allie now for, five,
Eons.
6 months. It's been a little while.
Yeah.
But Allie approached Nomad with this wonderful idea to create a collaboration that was focused on home swapping or travel accommodation opportunities for individuals in different relationship styles. And it was just really refreshing to hear from Allie as to the issues or the problems that a lot of people in different relationship styles go through when it comes to finding travel accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
So we created a very exclusive collaboration called Nomad Lifestyle, and it has launched. Pre-registration is live, and I'm very excited to talk about all things travel and sexy and relationship styles and just anything you guys want to ask. Please, I love questions, so please drop them in the chat.
And it's been so exciting to work with you because, like I said, I approached you with all these issues that for those joining, you may have run into some of this already. But, when you make reservations at, say, an all-inclusive resort, it's for two.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you're in a triad or a throuple or a foursome and you have multiple partners and you have to start paying for each additional partner? Why is that first partner okay, but now your other partners are an added expense? And also, I shared a video. I've run into this a few times, but I had requested a hotel room that was suitable for 3 people, and we opened the door to one queen bed and one twin right next to it. A little weird. A little weird.
Yeah.
Not sure what that other bed was for, but we made use of it. But I came to you with just the idea of what really the question more than an idea of what are you about? This is what I'm about. Can we find solutions together? And what excites me about home swaps, and I'd love for you to speak to this as well, and when it comes to the impact on local economy for, Airbnbs and things like that, home swapping is something that I've enjoyed myself. It's exciting because you get to connect with other people all over the world. What's cool about what we're doing is when you go through Nomad Lifestyle, you're connecting with other sex positive people. So you're not just, collaborating, if you will, with somebody that, speaks the same language as you, but they also may even be able to connect you with local events, local communities. So you're not just dropping into this destination blind. So can you talk to me a little bit about the impact of, home swapping versus Airbnb, et cetera?
Of course. And that's why I love home swapping, because it's a very sustainable option. And like you said, it's community centric. When you think about, booking an Airbnb, you're going into an area, you're assisting in driving up the cost of living, you're paying a premium for short-term rental, and you don't really have a mechanism for getting to know the area that you're in. Yes, you can communicate with your host, but let's be honest, is anybody friends with their host? I've never been. But in a home swapping scenario, you're in an intimate group, particularly with Nomad, you're in an intimate group of people who have entrusted their homes to each other. Generally, they're like-minded, and they want to help you discover the places that they love to go, the restaurants that they love to go, the clubs, the bars. Hey, support this local event. I love to go to it. And then the other aspect that you touched on is community, right? So within your home swapping group, you're creating a community itself, but then you're able to reach into other parts of the areas that you're traveling into, and really ingratiating yourself into that community itself. And particularly with the lifestyle community, and this is something that you actually shed light on, Allie, it's really hard to find members of the lifestyle when you're traveling, unless you happened upon an event. But then, can you trust it? Do you have
What's
anybody that
the
vouches for it?
quality? Yeah, are you going
What's
to
the
feel
quality?
comfortable? Hmm.
Exactly. But within a home swapping group of people who are within the lifestyle, you're able to get plugged into those specific events and those groups in country a lot faster. So sustainability and community is the number one reason I love to home swap.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head. Like if you're in a, sex positive ENM lifestyle community already, you may be able to connect with people in other parts of the world. But imagine if the act of connecting is what actually gets you deeper into that community. If you have communities already waiting for you with open arms and open homes. And that's, I think, what's so beautiful about what we're building with Nomad Lifestyle.
Right.
We did have a couple questions. One really jumped out at me from people who were chiming in before we started this. We did a little AMA on stories. And I think this
Mhm.
one is really important to touch on, especially when it comes to specifically like the sex positive community. What are things that could make my house more attractive to others when it comes to home swapping?
That is a great question, and it's something that we actually put pamphlets essentially on our site, pamphlets for people to follow, because it's tough, right? You want to participate in a home swap, but is my home going to appeal to others? And what I always say is take good quality photos. Just like an Airbnb, if you want your Airbnb to be booked, then take good quality photos. It helps to invest in that. Update the photos, show different times of year. This is what my house looks like in the fall, in the
Mhm.
winter,
Oh, I love that.
but then also really try to show what appeals to you about your house. And that's the difference between short-term rental and home swapping. You want to attract people that have similar interests to you. So, for example, I love to cook, and I would love to swap homes with somebody who also likes to cook, because I have a full spice cabinet and I have all the utensils that you need. So I would probably spend more time highlighting those areas of my house
Mhm.
so that I can attract someone who also has similar interests. So high quality photos, make sure that you're updating regularly if you're finding that you're not getting as many matches as you would like. And then also just highlight what appeals to you. If you take photos and if you really speak from the heart, you're going to attract the people that you want to come into your home.
I really love that, like the specificity of the uniqueness and what makes your space special to you versus like, oh, do I have the most luxurious home and the biggest, most expansive, da, da, da. I mean, that's on there too, but that's not like exclusively what this is about. It's like, oh, look at this really special, nook that I have. It's really great for cuddle puddles and like that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Really sharing, like you said, like the heart of your home, like what makes it special? What are you excited to share with other people? That's really
exactly.
great.
And specifically for Nomad Lifestyle, so I'll sort of explain the difference between our two service offerings.
Yeah.
Nomad Base, and the whole mechanism that underlies it, is we utilize AI to curate home exchange groups that meet our customers' listing and location preferences. So our customers sign up for the site, register their home. That includes an insurance check, meaning that they essentially, if they don't flag you, then you're able to receive up to $50,000 in coverage to ensure that your home is protected during a home swap, but also a background check. So we make sure that our customers don't have any criminal record or anything that would expose a person who is swapping into their home to potential dangers. Also, just fraud screenings. But after you complete those checks, you're able to review homes that are available on our site, choose the ones that you prefer, and then we match you into a curated group of like-minded people who have selected each other's homes. So already via that mechanism, we're creating intimacy. We're creating the possibility of building friendships, building trust with one another. And then we give you a shared calendar as well as group messaging features so you can build relationships further and align or coordinate your travel plans. The difference between Nomad Base and Nomad Lifestyle is that we've incorporated specific customizations that are unique to the lifestyle community. What does that mean? We have a house rules section. So if you are willing to permit lifestyle events, you can toggle that feature on.
Yeah,
If
this
you're
is
willing
huge.
to permit play or non-play socials, you can toggle that feature on. And then that's an additional criteria that we consider when we curate those specific home exchange groups.
And that's so special. Sorry to cut you off,
I
Amy.
was just going to say, I went on that tangent and then I forgot what the actual question was. So I may need to
No, I think
reiterate
what you touched on is
where I
super
was going.
important. Is like
Yeah.
what is nomad lifestyle versus like just nomad, right? And what makes this such a great offering to the community? Because like you said, in addition to connecting with people that you know are like-minded, that you know you're safe, they're going to connect you to communities that are vetted and stuff where you're going. You're also getting that next level of curation because finding venues is actually really hard in this space. If you want to host like a little sexy birthday soiree, you know, a lot of Airbnbs, for example, not to just like poo-poo specifically Airbnb,
Yeah.
but you know, those kinds of services are very averse to any kind of event and they make you sign, you know,
Right.
no events, anything like that. And especially sex positive events have a really hard time finding friendly locations for anything from a small gathering to a full blown, you know, sex party. So having
Mm-hmm.
the ability to say, you know, like, hey, I'm excited to offer my home for any version of that is an incredibly powerful tool and very exciting as somebody who hosts events like this of all sizes all over the world. It's a very exciting thing to be able to connect with other like-minded people in that way.
Right. And the other thing, and actually came to mind where I was going with this when
Mm,
you were speaking, is the ability to designate play forward
yeah.
spaces. So that's also something with, I mean, you wouldn't see that on Airbnb or VRBO
No,
or in any hotel.
no.
Um, but being able to designate via the photos that you upload what spaces are play forward is particularly important in the lifestyle community because at the end of the day we want to make sure that we have respect for the members that we're swapping homes with. And what does that mean? It means following the criteria that they lay out for themselves within their own home, so you can have fun, you can play, you can explore, and you know exactly where to do it.
And I love what you talked about too, like the, you know, the insurance and the vetting that goes into this. You're not just like getting matched with anyone. As someone who calls myself the original AI, Ali Eisman, like I love this use of AI. I think it's a really powerful way to help, you know, bring the right people together and then have that screening process. Like it makes me think of why, I mean, why my company is called Passport to Pleasure and I'm a relationship coach. I love the metaphor of travel for relationship building. We don't just like, well, most of us, some of us do this, but most people don't just buy a ticket randomly and go somewhere without any preparation, packing, anything. Most people are like, where would I like to go? Why? What do I want to do when I get there? What do I need to pack to do so? Is my passport ready? Et cetera, et cetera. There's like a process involved, right? And that's the
Right.
metaphor I like to use for people who are curious about, you know, maybe exploring consensual non-monogamy. Like, check out the information first. Do you even have your passport? Are you ready to go here?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm super excited for this collaboration because I love travel. I like to call myself wanderlustful. And so connecting with community all over the world, I've just made a big move. I now, you know, I moved for after almost 18 years in LA. I've always lived in the States. I'm now in London. So there's a
Yeah.
whole, you know, new expansive community that I'm connecting with here. And I'm excited to utilize, you know, nomad lifestyle to meet other like-minded people and stay in homes that embrace my lifestyle all over the world.
And that was actually the question that I have for you is why, what sort of drove you to approach us to create this collaboration? What was the driving force behind it?
Yeah. Well, honestly, it was kind of what I touched on earlier is the issues I've run into. I, you know, was in a three-person relationship last year and we did some travel together and it was just the most annoying things that we would have to deal with. It's annoying enough to try it every time. So wait, you're all dating? What does that mean? Like, okay, we have to
Yeah.
go through that same script. But to have, the extra fees, like we wanted to do, what was one of them? We wanted to do like a romantic night at this like really cool, like romance heavy, if you will, like hotel that had all inclusive like meals and the whole thing. And it like the whole thing was built around romance and sensuality for two.
Yeah.
And so if we wanted to do it, we had to pay for four, not three, four, because it's two for two for two. And just that sort of a thing and looking for more customization. Oh, I have
Mhm.
some love coming in
I
from the UK. Thank you for welcoming me. Oh, and some
know.
suggestions. Thank you. I will look at that. But just like what else is out there? And I've always loved, some version of home swap, whether it's, an Airbnb or there's other platforms out there. Couch surfing was something I did, earlier in my life as well. And just the people you get to meet and the more like local experience is what I felt like. You get the like referrals, and
Mhm.
community and connection is such a huge part of the lifestyle of meeting like-minded people, of connecting with people, of having these incredible experiences. So there just seemed like a lot of overlap in kind of what you guys were about and what draws me to the lifestyle in general, that I was like, maybe there's something here. And this is the power of curiosity. Now we have a dedicated lifestyle portal for home swapping all over the world.
Exactly. If you don't go out there and tell people exactly what you want, it's just not going to happen. And it's unfortunate, honestly, that there are no accommodation platforms really that
Yeah.
cater specifically to the lifestyle. When the lifestyle is such a huge community that expands
All over the
worldwide.
world. Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's so much travel. Like there's events all over the world people will travel to. I was quoted in the New York Times about destination play parties, like specifically in Europe. Like people
right.
travel for all kinds of events, from sex positive festivals to anything. And so to have that sort of, again, that local infusion where you're not just getting a hotel, that's fine if you want to do that. But if you want a more tapped in community oriented option that really
Mhm.
is curated for your lifestyle and your relationship dynamics, then this is such an incredible option. And you're right, we, as far as I know, we don't have anything like this yet, so I'm super excited that it's launched.
I'm so excited that you approached us. This is very exciting.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna see me do this because I'm a nerd. I have notes, so
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna refer to my
I know.
notes on this
Scrolling up and down
conversation.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
we've got a lot of ground to cover. So, yeah, I want to definitely, touch on your personal journey. Like, what got you here is probably not what people expect. You've built, so many people dream of a travel-filled lifestyle, and you have not only, built a life, but now a company around that. Can you talk a little bit about how you got here?
Definitely. So my upbringing is fairly unconventional for most Americans. I grew up overseas. We spent about 2 years in Madagascar, 5 years in Bangladesh. And through that experience, we traveled frequently. I traveled more as a kid than I have as an adult.
Wow.
And I'm doing a significant amount of traveling now. So that just goes to show what that was like. But it really just instilled this insatiable wanderlust. And I knew from that experience that growing up, I wanted to pursue a career that involved anything related to travel. I just wanted to be on the go. So I went to the business school when we moved back to the US, and I started studying international tax. And I thought, given the name, that I'd be able to travel more. But then quickly realized that I couldn't do that at all, at least until I hit partner status. And then COVID hit, and I, like many remote workers, realized that I could travel frequently while keeping up with my job if I just kept a remote gig. But the issue with that was finding affordable accommodation. If you want to do an Airbnb or VRBO for a week-long stay, that's like $1,400. I'm 27. I don't have an extra 1,400 laying around
Yeah.
every month to put towards accommodation. So I started looking to more affordable alternatives, and that's when I landed on the home exchange industry. And what was really interesting about the industry is that it's hyper exclusive, or it requires an extensive amount of user effort. And what that means is the existing platforms that are available are either members only, so you have to go through an interview process and sometimes they don't even accept you because your home isn't quote unquote attractive enough. Or if you are able to get let on onto their platform, you have to do all of the work of coordinating a swap for yourself. So it's you and thousands of other people. You have no way of building relationships with them, and
Mhm.
your swap dates have to exactly align, and you both have to like each other's properties. And that's really, really hard to do. I tried to do it on the platforms that are available, and I just could never
Like a
coordinate a swap.
full-time job. It sounds like
It's
on its own.
exactly. I just want to travel. Can someone
Yeah.
just get me to a group so I could travel? So that's why we incorporated AI, because AI has all the functionality to assess the user, to figure out their wants, their needs, their preferences. And so we said, let's just take all of the legwork off of our customer, have them tell us what properties that they like, and then we'll match them into curated groups of 3 people who all like each other's homes. And then by giving them tools to build relationships with each other, that's when you see home swaps happening much more frequently,
Mhm.
because we believe that relationships and trust are the baseline that you need in order to have a successful home exchange platform. So really, building this business is a combination of my want to be able to
Yeah.
travel more frequently and affordably, but also wanting to spread the beauty of travel with other people, being able to see what travel does, the cultures that it exposes you to, the way it sort of just awakens your mind, particularly at a young age. I wanted other people to be able to have that opportunity. And in order to do that, it has to be an affordable service. And we have to make it accessible. We have to make it easy for people to use so that they can do it
Yeah.
much more frequently.
Well, I think you've just used the tool that, the potential of AI in such a powerful way here. Because look, in the poly E&M community, we love a shared calendar. That's like when
Yeah.
you've got 4 partners, y'all are trying to get together. I mean, that is integral to success. And you know what? You're in travel groups of 3. Everything's better in threes, I like to say. So there's a lot
Exactly.
of synergy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just oh gosh, I just lost the train of thought that I was going. Oh no, because I wanted to bring up, there's a comment that I wanted to note too, just on this, the the observation that even allegedly sex positive resorts like Temptation are all still designed for 2, because those are generally swingers resorts, which are couples who are looking to play with generally other couples or a third.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still centered around the couple when there's so many other types of relationship dynamics out there
Yeah.
that need these spaces as well. So yeah, great point to bring that up. Absolutely. A lot of swingers don't even consider themselves non-monogamous. They're just like, oh no, this is a lifestyle. It's just an activity we do. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really important to have an option like Nomad Lifestyle for those of us who really do embrace this as a whole experience orientation lifestyle and want to travel more
And
freely.
what is the pricing like for the swingers resorts or the getaways? I know there's also a
It's
cruise line,
quite a
right?
range. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends.
Okay.
There's a lot of Temptation and Desire are owned by the same parent company. They have
Mm.
resorts and they do cruises as well. And there's a bunch of different tiers, just like
Okay.
any cruise or just like any resort. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But it is, I'm trying to think how to say this, a very specific type of place and experience. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different kinds of people in the lifestyle that are E&M, poly, et cetera. And not everyone is looking for that specific experience. And even
Yeah.
that one, again, is still geared for couples only or couple centric. And so having an option that's really embracing all of the relationship dynamics that are out there, giving people access to other experiences. Imagine getting to go to, for example, I don't know, a luxury immersive art play party in a palace in Portugal, more on that later, and getting to stay at an amazing home nearby the venue in Lisbon. And it's hosted by somebody who's in the lifestyle just like you and can recommend other communities and people for you to connect with. So you're not going to that party by yourself. You've
Yeah.
already got community there supporting you.
Yeah.
Like, imagine what's possible. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll refer to my notes again. Oh yeah, I mean, you touched on your incredible, like your just the amount of travel you did in your childhood and just the incredible experiences that you had. How did that influence sort of your understanding of, love and relationship and connection?
It was beautiful to be able to see. I wouldn't say that I saw differing relationship. Well, actually, I did. So I'm half Senegalese, and my mom is Muslim. My father is Catholic. He's Irish Catholic. And in Senegal, uh, I don't know how many people know this, but generally the patriarch or the man of the family, specifically if he's more of a prominent individual, has a number of wives. And so growing up, my uncle, who we consider the patriarch, has had 3 or 4 wives and a number of children. And that was just normalized for me growing up because that's how my mother grew up. That's just what was around in Senegal. But I will say that it was somewhat of a misogynistic culture because it's only the man
Yeah, I
that
was
can
gonna
have.
say, were women allowed to have multiple husbands?
No,
Yeah.
women cannot have multiple husbands. It's only the man. And being in Bangladesh, it was also we were also around a generally more religious people, so we saw more traditional relationship structures. But when we traveled to Europe, so Paris or London or other more progressive areas, we were able to be introduced to freedom of love, is what I would say, outside of the norm of what I grew up in Bangladesh and then traveling to Senegal frequently. And what I would say is the beauty of the way that I grew up traveling is that I was able to observe different relationship dynamics. A man with 4 wives, same-sex couples, traditional relationship dynamics. And it actually influenced me as a kid to explore what my sexuality meant. And same thing with one of my siblings. And so as we grew older, we were able to have more free discussions as to what sexuality meant to us because we saw that there were different options out there. I'm not saying that if I were to strictly grow up in the US, I wouldn't have had the same exposure and the same journey, but it was definitely a lot easier for me to see the possibilities that were out there by being able to travel at a really young age.
Well, I think this is why I love travel too, because like to your point, you do get exposed to different ways of living and loving and relating. And I encourage people to have that same level of curiosity that they have for venturing out into the world and experiencing new destinations for the journey that is relationship. No matter what relationship style you have, monogamous, non-monogamous, it is a journey. It is an adventure, not to
Right.
be like cliche, but you're two, at least two or more entire universes that are coming together, and you're growing and you're changing throughout your lives. So keeping that sense of curiosity and adventure for your relationship or your relationships is so key. And that's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons I love travel. Like to your point on being exposed to other ways, like I like hearing the term, traditional relationships. Well, if you really look back traditionally in like human history, it's actually non-monogamous.
Right.
So when I visited, for example, Easter Island, which is known locally as Rapa Nui, that's a communal social structure. So as an example,
Mm.
when a man and a woman have a baby, it's not just their child, it's the whole community's responsibility to raise that child. And look, there's pros and cons to both, just like there is to any number of relationship dynamics, but being exposed to other ways of relating, of parenting, of loving, it's just so valuable because then once you understand what's out there, you spend the time to reflect on yourself and what you need, you see the possibility and you can actually choose your relationship mindfully instead of just kind of following a script you've been given. And that can be the same for any
Exactly.
element of life, really.
Yeah.
That's the power of travel.
Yeah. And there's a lot of fear in the unknown, right? Whether it comes to travel, pursuing different relationship dynamics, anything that gets you out of your comfort zone, outside of something that maybe you grew up around that was normalized, it's scary. And when you travel and you're exposed to different things, that fear lessens. So by being able to do that much more frequently, it helps you realize that whatever path I choose to pursue, it's okay. There are other people who are doing it too, and it's okay. I shouldn't feel wrong about it. It's okay. And that's why, I mean, travel is just beautiful for a number of reasons, but I think the biggest thing for me is that it steps you out of your comfort zone
Yeah.
and it helps you grow in so many ways.
That the only place to grow is outside of your comfort zone. That's the only
Exactly.
place you do
Yeah.
that. And I oh gosh, and I had it and it just went away. It was so good. It'll come back if it's
That
important.
happens to me all the
Dang it.
time.
But yeah, just that idea of adventure, looking at new things. I'll find it. It's okay. It'll come back. So we've touched on all the advantages that this, new platform nomad lifestyle brings: curating experiences, building community, fostering deeper connections. It's so much more than just a home swapping tool, right? But it definitely starts that way. This is
Yeah.
getting interesting. All right. Thank you for that.
I'm glad.
What are some of the most unexpected, maybe like places, experiences that you've had when it comes to, doing home swapping and living this way?
The most unexpected places, I'm trying to think. Um, I would say anytime I travel to Asia, and this wasn't in a home swapping arrangement, but particularly with respect to travel, anytime I go to Asia, it blows my mind. I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to traveling to places that are off the beaten path. I remember when I was a kid, we went to Indonesia and we went to Ubud before Ubud was the next big thing. Now it's just blown up and there's hipsters traveling around and
It's
everything.
just Venice, California.
Exactly. But back in the day, we were in Ubud. There was nobody there, and we were able to explore. We saw pig roast, just all these different kinds of things. And my impression of Indonesia was, and this is rude to say, but I thought it was just a developing country. I didn't think that there were going to be these amazing experiences that were available to me. I thought that it was mostly an impoverished country, and that's what it was. But it was this glorious, beautiful place that is so communalistic. And I think that's the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from traveling, particularly to Asia and Africa, is that the cultures are so communalistic. And like you mentioned with the relationship style, where you're essentially raising your child as a group, it's very similar in some of these areas. Maybe it's not a relationship dynamic, but that's just how it is. You help each other out. You're part of your community. Yes, you're making money, but it's not the only thing in life. You're there to enjoy food, relationships, friendships, all of the beautiful things that life is about. So Indonesia is definitely at the top of my list, but I would say traveling to any communalistic country is always what I want to do, because it teaches me to be less individualistic, less about myself, not as selfish, which I think it's very easy to get into in the US and other developed countries. But just see a different way of life where making money isn't the only thing
Yeah.
that you care about.
Work to live versus live to work kind of mentality.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having a quite an awakening around that right now myself with my recent. Sorry, I just remembered the thought that I had. It was about, you were talking about how it can be uncomfortable, it can be scary traveling to a new place.
Mhm.
And it's kind of exposure therapy in a sense to travel and to like push through that fear and see what's on the other side of it. And that's kind of how I think about non-monogamy as well. It's exposure
Yeah.
therapy to all those scary, uncomfortable feelings, jealousy, insecurity, etc. Because you're having to face head on all of the things that, are a lot easier to kind of sweep under the rug if you're not in a multi-partner dynamic. So that's another.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I just want to answer this one
Oh
question
yeah.
from
Oh
home
yeah.
users.
Mhm.
Thanks for asking. Do you have homes listed outside of the US? So Nomad Lifestyle pre-registration is live currently. And when we launch, we will be listing homes outside of the US. The initial focus will be the United States, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. But the locations, right, will depend on the supply. So we'll be focusing our marketing in those areas. But if you have a home outside of those areas, we would love to see it, because I'm sure there's somebody on the platform that will want to be part of a home exchange group with you.
Exactly. Think about where you want to go, create your space to be available to others. And the more we do that, the more options we'll have. Like I'm figuring out right now a swap. I got invited to the Sex Tech conference in Berlin to be an ambassador for that event. And so I'm coordinating a home swap in Berlin right now between, what is it, Berlin, London, and New York. So
Berlin,
we're
London,
sorting that out.
and LA or
Wasn't your
Vancouver, I
LA
think.
or Vancouver?
Yeah.
What do I know? The other AI is in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Manchester is a great place for the lifestyle. Yeah, there's a lot of community here in the UK that is going to be very served by this. There's a lot of people who travel all around Europe for different sex positive events, festivals, things like that. So this is exactly what our community is looking for in that space, like just the connectivity of it all. You were sharing with us a little bit about, kind of the most interesting or unexpected experiences. What would you say would be maybe the most romantic experience you've had in your travel heavy lifestyle, your wanderlustful lifestyle?
The most romantic experience, I would say it's top three. And it was actually my first exposure to E&M,
Mm,
as essentially, I guess, the third party. But I was preparing to go to Panama 2 years ago. And I was just sort of loosely dating. I wasn't really looking for anything serious. And there was this guy who we matched on an app, and he wanted to see me before I went traveling. So he came over and we hit it off, and it was just an immediate connection. We both connected when it came to travel, to building a
mm,
business, etc. Went to Panama, came back, and ever since then, he has been a person that I would now consider my mentor. He's
mm,
helped me build my business by inspiring me creatively with marketing and all the rest. He's been a source of inspiration, encouragement. I love the way that he lives his lifestyle, just traveling on a whim. He literally is never in one location for longer than a month at a time. He has more wanderlust than I do. But yeah, I would say top three romantic moments, because I was about to embark on this soul seeking journey that led to the birth of Nomad. And I met someone just serendipitously right before I jumped into this new version of myself,
mm,
who wanted to be along for the ride and
mm.
who wanted to help me grow into the person that I am today. So definitely, that's probably one of the most romantic. What about you?
Amazing. Oh my goodness. Oh God, I should have been prepared with something. Um, I have a lot of stories, not as many as maybe you'd think, because I like to brand myself. I'm the world's most boring sex party host. I'm like a sleep by 10. I don't really drink. I don't really do any substances, but I throw a great party.
Love it.
But no, I like for me it's about connection. So like it's really like getting swept up in like the romance of whatever place I'm in and really allowing myself to be vulnerable to meet new people and allow them to surprise me. I've had like, oh God, if you haven't had sweet nothings whispered into your ear in French by a Frenchman,
Oh man,
you just
yeah.
haven't lived. Like, it's just
Yeah.
wonderful. It's what I have no idea what he was saying. I don't care.
Hmm. I don't
He's
think it matters.
just, it really
Yes.
doesn't. Could have been reading the grocery list.
Yeah.
Don't care. It was beautiful. It's like Italians fighting. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's poetry. Like it
It's
just sounds
great to
amazing.
watch. Yeah. Just give me my coffee and I'll sit there for hours.
Oh my God. Just absolutely. Yeah. Just wonderful. Just yeah, that availability, that openness, that allowing myself to be uncomfortable and to not know. Because for somebody like me, I'm very innately like type A. I like to have the plan. I like to know what's coming. I like to, and that's probably why I'm so drawn to travel is I allow myself to just see,
Yeah.
to just like go like, yeah, I got my passport in order. I know where I'm going. I have a place to stay. Like I have the basics set up, but I like to not do too much of an itinerary. I have like a few things I want to see, but I like to leave myself open to be surprised, to have an adventure, to connect with somebody or someone's and,
Hmm.
be taken into a new place or a new community. And that has just left my life so rich in my relationships and in every area. Leading with curiosity has just, yeah, been absolutely the right way to do it for me.
Yeah. And
I
that's
have
why
that with a Serbian.
uh,
I love that.
I've
Those
never
sweet
been with
nothings.
a Serbian person before, but yeah,
I don't know that I
on my
will
bucket
either.
list.
On the list. Well,
And I think
on that, do
actually,
you have what's on your bucket list? Like, what is on the travel life experience bucket list for yourself?
so short term, I would, well, I'm going to Curacao. in May with my girlfriends. I like to do a week-long trip every year with them because they're such beautiful souls. And I finally found a group of girls who want to adventure travel, and that's
Yes.
really, really hard to find.
Yes.
Um, so going to Curacao in May with them. But I think really, just like you said, I want to be able to book trips on a whim because it's in my budget, it's affordable, and I have the room and capacity to do it. So the first spots that I want to hit are Ecuador. I would like to go to Peru, spend a month backpacking there. I've been wanting to spend a lot of time in Oregon, actually. It's one American state that I'm obsessed with, and I
Beautiful.
would
Yeah.
love to get a home swap there so that I can spend
Hint,
about a
hint, or
month.
again.
Exactly. Please sign up. Um, but I'd like to go back to Senegal as well and spend about a month with my mother's family. My grandmother is getting older, just really get to know her because I haven't been
Hmm.
able to do that as much, particularly in my adult life. And then just go wherever the wind takes me. I feel like those last minute trips that somebody suggests you join, or a home swap opportunity that comes up that's in a location that I never thought that I would go, is the perfect excuse to, again, get out of your comfort zone, book that trip, go, plug in
Yes.
with your home swapping community, and figure out how to really enjoy the area that you're traveling
Yeah.
to.
I love that. That community, again, it's just so powerful to have that resource. I want to hear from you guys too. Drop in the chat. I want to hear like your most frustrating travel experiences. Like, are you in a triad that has just like, you can't afford to travel because you have to pay for four of everything instead of three? And like, I want to hear about the silliest or the most frustrating, or what are you hoping to experience with, a resource like Nomad Lifestyle? What problems are going to be solved for you? I want to know what's going on with you guys. So don't hesitate to drop that in the chat as well. So let's see. We went through that. Nomad, this collaboration, this Nomad lifestyle is going to be such a game changer for the lifestyle community and our global community. How do you see its role in reshaping the way we experience travel in general?
Well, I think really just putting lifestyle forward travel accommodation on the map is going to be eye-opening for a lot of folks. Usually, you need a business or a group of people to really shout that this is a much, much needed solution. And then when you start generating revenue and the investors come in, that's when it just catapults you to another level. And so I want to play a part in facilitating ease of access to accommodation for the lifestyle community so that it's much easier to travel, build a community, and be able to do so much more affordably. So really, at the end of the day, the money can come and go. Who cares? I just want to make sure that there is a mechanism available to the lifestyle that they enjoy, that they appreciate, and that where we can obtain feedback from members of the lifestyle to further improve our platform.
Yeah.
This is just version one. If there's anything that you want to see, any features that you think will be useful, please let us know, because this platform is for you. It's built for you. So we're willing to do whatever we can to make sure that it is the perfect fit.
And this community is so collaborative. That's one of the things I love so much about it is people, want to open their homes. They want to host events. There's not this like separation of like, oh wait, what's your resume? Like how much is in your bank account? People just want to connect and share and be in a safe, sex positive space together to live and express freely. So even for people who are like new to this space, I see opportunities with Nomad Lifestyle for like, oh, like we're new here, literally like here in the lifestyle space, and we want to travel. We're connecting with somebody in a destination we're looking to go to. They can kind of act as a guide, as a shepherd, setting us up to like, here's a great place if you're just starting out. They host workshops, etc. That sort of thing. We can really be there for each other in a really expansive global way that is really already happening locally. And this
Right.
just like opens it up, which is very, very exciting to me.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's nothing like building trust when you're swapping homes with one another. And
Oh
I
yeah,
think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there is an element of trust, right, that you need to be part of the lifestyle community.
massive.
And how do you establish that if I've been in Denver for all these years. I've never met anybody in the lifestyle or
Mhm.
who's open to being in the lifestyle. Where do I start? Are they going to trust me? What do I do? But just the pure fact that you match because you like each other's homes and now you're building relationships and trust with one
Mhm.
another, that will build the path for you to form connections with others in the lifestyle community wherever you intend to swap.
100%. It's all about vetting. Like the only reason I've been able to connect with any of the and go to any of the events I've gone to here or connect with the people I have is because of my community, is because I've been vouched for. And you do actually, if you don't mind speaking briefly on the sort of vetting that is involved. I know you touched on like the insurance and all that stuff as well, but there is a vetting component to the Nomad Lifestyle platform. And I think that's
Yes.
integral.
So we partner with Stripe Identity. What Stripe Identity does is they ask you for a copy of your government ID, so you have to upload that. And then at the same time, they take an auto capture of your face and compare it to your government ID. What that does is it weeds out fraudsters. It performs a background check so we can ensure that that individual is safe. If you don't pass your Stripe Identity background check, you're not permitted to use the platform. The other criteria is we ask all renters or homeowners, so you can be both, to utilize the platform, to upload a copy of their mortgage, bank statement, lease agreement, essentially anything that has your full legal name and the address that you're providing for that specific listing. We do a check against your government ID to ensure that that listing is actually registered in your name. Second check. Third check is we partner with Truby, which is our insurance provider, and they run their own fraud detection mechanism that makes sure that you don't have any criminal issues in your background. And this is like major stuff, guys. Like if you got a DUI or something, although that's huge, but you know we're looking for things that are going to really pose harm to other members of your travel group. But they also perform their own checks, and what that does essentially sets the amount of coverage you're able to get if you opt into insurance coverage with Truvi, which is the host ability when they're hosting a member of their travel group in their home. So it's a 3-step check. And if we get any flags from Stripe Identity, from Truvi, and if the document that you upload does not match the address that you've listed, sorry, you're not able to use our platform. And that's all under the importance of building trust, because that's really the main criteria
Yeah.
that this platform is based on.
Well, 100%. And to be fair, all of that is like backstage.
Right.
Like this isn't all this data is not like available to other people. This is just part of the vetting process to make sure you're able to utilize this platform. Can you talk about how maybe people who are using the platform, can they vouch for each other? Is there like a review process or something like that so people can really say like, yeah, this person's rad, like left my
Yeah.
home in perfect condition?
Yes. So when you're in your home exchange group, you are able to request stays at each other's homes. And just like any short-term rental platform, at the conclusion of the stay, you have the ability to leave a review for the host. Hey, I loved that the host left out flowers for me, or everything was so clean, and I really, really enjoy staying at this host's home. I would do it again in a
Their
heartbeat.
dungeon
Every host
had everything I
gets
wanted. Yeah. Like all
dungeon had
that.
everything I wanted. I loved the play forward spaces. It was so amazing that I could host a play social here and not feel bad about it. And my host was
Yeah.
communicative the entire time and showed me what I could use, what I couldn't use, etc. Every host gets a respective rating following those reviews. So when you go through and select the listings that you prefer to be matched into a home exchange group, you can see the reviews that are posted on the host platform. So I personally, if I was looking at a property in New York and it was beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, but that host had a 1-star review, I probably wouldn't add it to my list of preferred listings.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that's super important to, especially like, private invite only play parties, communities, that sort of thing. They want to know who you are. What are you going to add to this community? What energy are you bringing? And we're not looking for one star energy. You
Yeah.
know, we really want people who are contributory. And I think that's what this type of app and this type of offering really supports. There's a lot of misconceptions, I think, about, you know, non-monogamy, multi-partner dynamics, polyamory, and home swapping as well. Like a
Hmm.
lot of people make the assumption, for example, that, you know, being non-monogamous, it's all about sex.
Yeah.
So, you know, nomad lifestyle must be all about, you know, people who want to throw play parties and just fucking other people's homes. And sorry, I'm probably
Hmm.
not supposed to say that on a live. Sorry, Meta. But like, it's so much more than that. It's again, it's about community. It's people who go to play parties, for example, aren't even necessarily looking to play with other people. There are plenty of, you know, couples, for example, that go just because they like to be in the environment with other open-minded, expressive people in a safer space, and then they go home and play with each other. It's not, you know, this expectation. So I think I'd love for you to share maybe some misconceptions that people have about home swaps and about, you know, nomad lifestyle, for example.
Sure, and I love that question because home swapping is it's been around since 1991. I think that's when the earliest company was founded, but it's much more prevalent in Europe. It's not really a mechanism that's used as frequently, especially in the US. Why? Because these platforms make it really, really hard to coordinate a home swap. So
Yeah.
people don't do that. They say, this is just too much work. I'll get a hotel or I'll get a short-term rental. But I think the other thing is that people think it's not as clean. It's a
Mhm.
little bit dirtier, quote unquote, because you're not as familiar with it. It's again something that's scary. You're fearful. Is this going to actually work? Is this platform going to do what it's saying that it does? So I think the biggest thing really is people are fearful that the quality of the listing won't be what they expect, which, hey,
Mhm.
you can say that with a short-term rental platform. We've
Oh
all been
yeah.
there.
Plenty of reviews to prove that.
We have all been there. Um, and people are just scared of utilizing a mechanism that they've really never been exposed to. So as part of our marketing, we're educating people as to what exactly home exchange is, because again, it's more of an unfamiliar concept in the US.
I've personally loved it because it feels so much more, well, it's just like it's lived in, but I don't mean that in like a worn way or like you said, like a dirty way. It's just like it feels
Mm-hmm.
like a home
Yeah.
versus like if I'm, you know, like my previous life as a marketing executive, I had to travel a lot for like trade shows and stuff, and you're just in that like cold hotel room and you've just been like on all day and it's just cold. And I mean that literally because the AC is blasting for no reason and you're in
Mm-hmm.
Vermont and it's winter.
Yeah.
But like it's just sterile. And I don't know, I want more warmth. I want to know that this is a lived in space that is welcoming for connection. And so I've just always loved, and I've had it, you know, for you know, 99% of my home swaps and homestays have been beyond my expectations because people actually care. That even though they're not physically there, they're hosting you. And so they want you to have a great time. They want to welcome you. And so there's all these little details and touches that so many people will do. And it's like I'm excited too. Like I want to leave a like bouquet of condoms. Like try these. Like
Exactly.
welcome. You know, like
Yeah.
just getting to swap with people and getting to be my cheeky self, knowing that like my home is welcoming and people who share my interests and my lifestyle and my view of the world. It's delicious and
It's
exciting to me.
more of a personalized experience, and it gives you all of these ideas that you can incorporate into your own space,
Yeah.
because like you said, it's not a sterile environment. Like
Yeah.
I've gotten design ideas from swapping
Yeah.
people's homes, and just by respecting the fact that this person is only willing to open their home to an intimate group, that shows you that they have a level of respect and care for their home.
Hmm.
And because of that, it's actually a lot cleaner or a lot easier to feel welcome there than it is at a short-term rental. And with a
Yeah.
short-term rental, you have property owners that'll go in, send a cleaning crew to get it all cleaned up. Maybe they miss a few spots, but it just doesn't really feel like you can settle in, particularly
Mm-hmm.
for a long stay. But when you're at a home swap in someone's home who takes care of it, who loves it,
Mm-hmm.
who wants to make sure that you take care of it as well, you can settle in, you can take a deep breath. And it's nice to know that you have someone that you can communicate with, that you've built a relationship with, who's not only going to help you settle into their home, because that's important to them,
Mm-hmm.
but also help you settle into the area that you're traveling
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and I found like like I used to actually Airbnb my home, and I found just like an increasing level of disregard of just
Mm-hmm.
like treating it like a hotel. Like we don't care. Like we're trashed the place. We're gone. We don't have to worry about it. And it's
Yeah.
like that's someone's home. So like I don't want to welcome people in that are viewing my space that way. I want to welcome people in that understand they're being invited into someone's home and they want to have that experience. Um, it's such a value add, and it is such an intimate thing, like you said earlier. To do that, there's such a level of trust, and to be a member of the lifestyle community, which is another space that involves a great deal of trust and intimacy and connection. It makes so much sense to utilize a platform like this more so than just like an Airbnb or a hotel or something. Like I can't wait for this swap in Berlin. Like this
I
conference is gonna be nuts. Like I'm excited to see where I'm gonna be
know.
staying and like connecting. And this person's gonna, I'm connecting with people already in Berlin on like, what events should I go to, what, clubs, etc. Like it gets me even more excited for the thing that was just like, oh, a work trip.
Yeah.
Like now, granted, my work is pretty cool, but like it's just there's so much more now accessible. It feels so much more um personal, and there's so many more elements of connectivity to it for me. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled. And for those of you that are tuning in and maybe you've been listening to my little hints here and there, I'll make a more formal announcement shortly. I am going to be hosting a high-end immersive play party in Europe, in Lisbon specifically, later this summer. I will be announcing it, but we are very excited to welcome all of our home swappers to utilize Nomad Lifestyle for visiting this incredible weekend event that we're going to be throwing. So stay tuned, sign up, tell them the link. We got a few more minutes
Yeah.
here. So if you guys have questions, drop it in the chat. But if you want to leave everyone with just kind of like one nugget, also the website, please do.
Yes. So we would love for you all to pre-register. The website is wetravelnomadlifestyle.com. If you have any suggestions or features that you want to see, or if you just want to drop a note and say hi, send us an email at customer service at wetravelnomad.com. I do monitor that account, so I will be responding to you personally. And I just want to say that thank you so much, Allie, for bringing this collaboration to light and for working with us. Allie has been fully involved in the project from the wireframes to
I've
reviewing
learned so much.
the UI UX. It's just been such a blessing to have you as our partner and to have you in our corner. And we can't wait to take the world by storm. Watch out, Nomad Lifestyle this coming summer. Who knows? Everybody's going to be talking about it.
This summer's gonna get hot.
Thank
Definitely. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. So we just dropped the
you.
link in there. And it's also, there's a siren happening. There is a link in my bio with my link tree. Basically, all of the links and We Travel Nomad Lifestyle is in there as well. But please do sign up. Again, the more of us get involved, the more options we get to have. So it's just like anything, more is more, right? So check it out. You're allowed to be curious. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but why not? Why not give it a try? Give it
Yeah.
a little peek. See what happens. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for your time. It's so inspiring to connect with other founders that are just changing the landscape of their industry. I'm very, very looking very much forward to the official launch. Seeing everybody pre-register right now has been really thrilling. So thank you again so very much. And again, the link is in my bio. If you're watching the replay here, do leave those questions in the comments. I check them all. I will get back to you. Absolutely. And this has been Open Dialogue. I'm Allie Iseman with Passport to Pleasure.
Thanks, Sally.
Thank you. Bye.